Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Modeling Time with me, Brian Banna. In the last video, I had mentioned that when I do my next video, I'll be making progress on this model, and I am. After I finished the last video, it was time for me to take a vacation, but just before I went on vacation, I got my tread plate kits in. So I got these, and I've got them installed. You can see right there that it's installed. So there's some other things I want to talk about, some setbacks in the 3D printing that caused me to change some things, and that aren't related with this. Well, one of them's related with the deck and all that, and one of them's related with the shell. So let me get the camera set up, and I'll go over all of this stuff and talk to you about what I ran into, how I'm going to get around it, and those kinds of things. So let me get the camera set up. Go. Alright, so this is the deck, what it looks like up close. So I've got it all glued down. So I use barge cement. It's a shoe glue. It's not basically contact cement. And then the process is I use thin CA and I go around the edges so it holds the edges down so you have no gaps between the tread plate. See, do I have one there? Nope, that one's down. And between the tread plate and the deck itself. So that's all in. The handrail stanchions fit good, and there's the front. Now on the shell, I haven't gotten that done yet, but there'll be tread plate put here and here, but I'll get to that when I work on the shell. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to glue this frame to the deck. But before I do that, I want to make sure that this frame, when I put it down, that it doesn't, be misaligned and be off, side to side, because there's a little bit of gap between the frame and the side sill. So what I've done is I've taken these plastic strips, I'll get my tweezers out here, and I've inserted these plastic strips between the frame and the sill. And that keeps the sill from moving side to side, so that when I put the frame in, it'll sit perfectly centered on the sill. Now, what I have to do is I will tack these strips of styrene. These are 10,000 styrene, or they're 15,000. I can't remember if they're 10 or 15. I think maybe they're 15. Let me check. Nope, they're 10. 10,000s. So I'll tack these to the sill, because once I pull this frame out, they're going to fall all over the place. And when I put CA on the spots that I'm going to put CA on, I won't have a whole lot of time to get these spacers set up. So I'm just going to take some thin cement and just tack it in place so that they stay where they're going to be. So let me pull this apart. I haven't tacked it yet, so we can dump those aside. So what's going to happen is I'm going to put, because these are standoffs from the frame, so I'm going to put a blob of CA on each one of these standoffs, except for these two with the black dots on them, because those don't contact anything. And that'll take care. And then I can put the frame on it. This sets nice and flat, and then I put the frame on, although these protrude above it, so I'll have to take care of, getting it set in there, and then just press it down and let it set up. And that will glue the frame to the sill, and I'll be all good to go on that. So that's really good. What else am I going? Oh, I did drill the holes for the plows, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to use the plows because the glad hand on the coupler rubs on the top edge here of the plow. So the only way to fix that is to redo these pieces in here, and to redo these, moving that hole a little bit forward. But can't really do that because that hole is lined up right on the edge of the pilot plate, so it just doesn't really work all that well. The other thing I could do, actually, is I could redesign this box, which maybe I'll do. I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking about it. and put the hole a little bit further forward. But the problem I don't like about that is when I put this in here and I line that hole up, the box, screws fell out, the box, or the draft gear box, or the coupler box, the front edge of that box lines up with the front edge of the draft gearbox, or the buffer plate. So that makes a hole align. If I move this coupler forward a little bit, it's going to put more gap between the back of the coupler head and the buffer plate. And I don't know if I really like that. I mean, I guess I can, if I moved it out like, say, 15 thousandths, maybe that wouldn't be too bad. I'll tell you what I'd do. What I'm going to do is I'll do a test piece where this hole is moved forward 15 thousandths, and let me see how that goes. That way everything's still lined up. And well, if I move that hole forward 15 thousandths, then the coupler box, this portion, the face of the coupler box has to move back 15 thousandths, and the back has to move back 15 thousandths. So I'll figure it out. But I really would like to use the plows, so it just occurred to me while I was talking to you that maybe if I just move that hole a little bit, I could get it to not contact the plow. So I'll work on that. That's one thing I'll do. So that'll take care of that. And the next time you see this, it'll be all glued together, and I can start putting on the air cylinders, and we can build all those together. Now, this is a close-up of the tread plate, so you can see the tread pattern and such. It turned out really well. Like I said, the stanchions fit really well in there. Now, I'm not going to use my 3D printed stanchions. There's a specific reason for that, and that is robustness. These models are to be, lack of a better word, to be played with. So those 3D printed stanchions, after they cured for a while, they got pretty brittle. I mean, they were still fairly robust, but heavy-handed or accidents, it'll just snap them just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and use the handrail sets that came with the model, plus the thickness of the handrails. I know it's oversized, but I don't care about that. The thickness of the handrails matched the thickness of the handrails on my GP7s, my Atlas Kato GP7s, so that will work out really well there. Alright, so let's turn the attention to one other thing before I end this video. Oh, real quick, nicely the fuel tank hasn't shrunk any, and it still fits really well on the frame, so that's really, really cool. I'm happy about that. What has happened was I was going to cut this out, the grill, and I was going to use my own grills, because I didn't. The KV model ones are okay. I'm not saying anything bad about them. They're good stand-ins and stuff. But I wanted a grill that matched the prototype. These grills are actually two pieces. There's a seam down the middle running front to back, and they're bolted on in four corners. And actually, they're two pieces welded together to make one piece. So I kind of simulated that with these grills here. Let me zoom in on that. Oh, that's good. Okay, so I made these grills so you can see the seam down the middle, and then here and here there are landings for bolt heads, which I would be using these 3D printed bolt heads here. Whoop, wrong way. Let me get this light down here better. So I'd be using these bolt heads, and I have little dimples in here that I can drill and stuff. So the number of grids on here are the exact same as what's on the prototype, because I have a really good close-up picture that I took out at Illinois Railway Museum showing this, so I was able to count the grids vertical and horizontally and get them all taken care of. So this didn't work too well. You can see how it warped really good, like a Pringles potato chip. And so I thickened it up a little bit, and while I was curing, I put a weight on it. So these ones came out better. So that looks kind of round, right? Oh yeah, that looks really great. Problem is, it shrunk more in this direction than it did this direction. So this direction, you know, down the center line of the hood, it would fit in there. This direction, it doesn't. It's about half the thickness of this ring here. So it didn't really work out too well. I mean, I could make it fit, and it probably would be okay, because on the prototype, it's flush up with the top of the ring. But I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. But I have to make that decision, and I have a while before I get to here. But these might work. So I do have 4 of them here for my 4 models. But I have more models to do, and I don't really know if I really want to fuss around with the not round grill. So I do have photo etch ones of these coming to me as well. Basically designed the same way. They're just being, I think I did them in 6/1000ths brass. So we'll see how those are on their way to me now. So that's in the future. I'm not worried about it right now. I'll take care of that at the time being, or when the time comes. But right now, I'm going to work on the frame and get the deck glued down to it, and work on, like I said, I'll work on maybe pulling this coupler a little bit more forward, just so it clears the plow. I mean, let me see if I can't show you how that works. So if I put this guy in here, let me grab a screwdriver here. I should have this ready or set up, but I didn't. Sorry about that. There we go. So that takes care of that. Now, if I put a plow on there, and then I put this in here, and I line it up, that you can, let me see if I can zoom in on that. Let me see if I can get the focus going. There we go. You can see the where the glad hand rubs up against the top of the plow there. So maybe if I moved it forward, that wouldn't be too bad. That clears it. That gives me, if I moved it forward about 10/1000ths, that doesn't pull the coupler too far forward. I mean, I don't like it sticking out that much, but you know what? Maybe then I can get the plow on it and it'll work just fine. Even with the spring, it doesn't go back. Yep, I'll do that. I'll redesign the box for the coupler, and I will pull it out about 10 or 12 thousandths, and that'll clear the glad hand, and I can have my plow on there. So that'll work. So anyway, let me get everything set up, and we'll get this glued in place. We'll get the deck glued onto the frame. All right, so I've got everything sorted out. Now, previously I said that I was going to redesign the coupler box and move the pin closer. Well, I did that with these, and it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because I forgot that if I move this hole closer, I also have to move the hole in the draft gearbox forward. Well, if you'll notice, see this face right here and here? Well, that goes up against the pilot plate. Well, the hole is already as close to the pilot plate as it can get without the screw head interfering, or the pilot plate interfering with the screw head, so I couldn't do anything. So what I did is I go, oh, okay, well, the coupler that I had in there was a short shank coupler. So I tried a medium shank coupler, and it's not too bad. It sticks out a little bit further than I was wanting it to, but it's not grossly, like really sticking out really, really far like they are on the manufacturer's models. So I'm just going to live with that like that. I've got about 25 to 30 thousandths clearance on the pin to the plow. So I'm just going to live with it like that. I think it'll look just fine, and it'll work just fine. So I get to use the plows, and that's the important thing. Now when I couple up to it, the glad hand on the freight car or other locomotive will not be interfering with the plow either. So everything's good on that. So we're all good to go to move on and building up this frame. So I'm going to end the video with this, and the next video will be actually adding parts and getting the pilots ready, because I still have to drill out for the MU hoses. I'm not going to put a train line hose on it. I don't really care. This glad hand kind of represents a train line hose, but you know, it's the compromises we make, so we live with them. And I have to do the coupler lift bar and the brackets and stuff. So that'll be in the next video. And once that's done, the video after that is going to be building these air cylinders, building all this stuff up. So let me just cut it off right there. All right, so that takes care of this episode. We got the deck glued on to the frame. We got the couplers all sorted out so I can use the plows and stuff. So this is all ready to start working on the pilot plates, and then we can move to the air reservoirs. So I want to thank you for watching if you've made it all the way through this. And other than that, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.